Good morning, everybody. This is Sports Freak from the D, and let's talk real ball. This is the end of the third week of college football, and we've seen some interesting things happening, developing. A couple of upsets that I would like to discuss. The first one being LSU of Auburn. It was a little bit of a surprise. I expected Auburn to go into the Iron Bowl at the end of the season against Alabama undefeated. Uh, Now they got one loss. But the difference was the quarterbacking. Burrow, who's a transfer from Ohio State, he's a very, very good game manager. Did not make any mistakes. Threw downfield when he had to, but did a lot of good checkdowns through some of the running backs or the short routes. Anyway, that was a good pleasant surprise from LSU. The other big upset was BYU over Wisconsin. I wouldn't say that was a big upset, but it's just how BYU did it. Wisconsin could not run the ball that well, and that's usually one of their strengths. But BYU came through. Now it just throws the Big Ten into a little bit of a disarray. Still, the top team is Ohio State, and Ohio State went ahead and proved it against TCU. I wouldn't say they manhandled TCU, but they showed that they were the superior team. The other little thing that I found surprising is Vanderbilt giving Notre Dame a tough time. In fact, I would say Vanderbilt came very, very, very close to upsetting the Fighting Irish at home. So there was some chinks on that armor. Now, Ole Miss was supposed to be a good challenge to Alabama, and they were for the first series. If I'm not mistaken, they jumped ahead 7-0, and all of a sudden they got a little cocky, and Alabama proceeded to score, say, a 60 something unanswered points. So, yes, one thing that we got to see this weekend that the gap between Alabama and everybody else, except maybe Georgia and Clemson, that gap is pretty darn big. And I think it's getting bigger by the week. Uh, anyway, that's some of the things that I saw this weekend. I saw my Seminoles lose to Syracuse. I had a feeling about it, uh, but the interesting point is what I preached last week was patience and relax. And all of a sudden, Keith Olbermann comes on Sunday night, and that's exactly what he says on ESPN. Everybody, just relax, okay? All these programs they take a little time to come back to realization. Remember, they got some pretty good talent. They got some pretty good talent. It's just a matter of a different offense with Willie Taggart. The defense played very well against Syracuse. They played darn good. But that offense, especially that offensive line from FSU, that Ole system of letting the pass rusher pass you, it's not going to work for too long. Mr. Francois is going to get killed back there sooner or later. The running game cannot get started. Akers just has no room to run. So if we don't improve that offensive line and quickly, this is going to be a long season. We got the meat of our schedule coming up. We go to Louisville at Louisville. We got Clemson at home, I believe, but we got to go to Miami. That's going to be an interesting thing. But anyway, if we don't improve, it's going to be a long season for us. Another thing that I wanted to talk about is this Yankee Boston Red Sox series this week. I saw the game last night. The Bronx Bombers still rely on the long ball to get anything done. If they don't, they can't put the base hits together. So the scoring's got to be from the long ball. So far, so good. Uh, Boston's getting ready to clinch it. I don't think that's anybody's doubt. And if you look at who's the better team, Boston is by far the better team. And right there behind them is Houston. I would say Boston with their pitching staff and Houston with their pitching staff is carried away. But the one thing I am happily surprised about is that the Yankee pitching staff is holding up. That's going to help in the playoffs. What worries me about the playoffs is that lack of scoring, putting base hits together. The pitching is going to get better. It's not going to get worse. What they're going to see in the playoffs, especially a one game playoff against those pesky Oakland Athletics. The one thing I was disappointed on that, especially last night, the Yankee defense reared its ugly head again. Not being able to turn a double play in the ninth inning almost cost them the game. They had to go out what 3 tries to get a double play. They finally got it, but anyway. Also the bullpen, the shutdown bullpen hasn't really been a shutdown bullpen. It's been a great bullpen throughout the whole season, but they got enough arms in that bullpen where it should be lights out after the sixth inning. Uh, Everybody should have a hard time scoring against them after the sixth inning, and on occasionally it has not been the case. But it still is one of the strengths. Now with Chapman coming back, that will be a great thing. That should solidify everything. They have actually 3 closers. But anyway, the defense is what worries me, and the inability to put the base hits together. That's another thing that worries me coming into the Oakland A's. Oakland A's, you can't get 4 outs in 1 inning. They'll just jump all over you. And it's a one-game playoff, which is going to be probably in Yankee Stadium, which doesn't mean much against the Athletics, considering that they have the best road record in the major leagues. So they're not going to be intimidated by playing in Yankee Stadium. Hopefully not. Hopefully they are, but they're not going to. Anyway, we got good games coming up this weekend. Alabama, again, is going to be tested by Jimbo Fisher and the Texas A&M. It should be close. Jimbo knows Alabama. I trust in Jimbo. I think the game should be close for about half, and I would say right about halfway through the third quarter, Alabama is going to start kind of pulling away. Maybe a 2-score game. I do not think they're going to score 60 points against the Texas A&M defense, but they are going to win that game and fairly easily. Other interesting games going on. Another interesting thing that I've been seeing. The NFL. NFL is getting kind of interesting this weekend. I will talk about that next time. But for now, guys, keep your heads up. Keep them at me. One thing I wanted to talk about too was Ohio State and Mr. Urban Meyer. Dude, just keep your mouth shut, man. Sometimes you talk too much, and this is the case of you just talking too much and not saying anything. Then you have to come out and do a press conference to clarify what you just said, and then a press conference to clarify what you're clarified about. Just keep your mouth shut and coach, man. Anytime you come out on TV, you get worse and worse. So just let us settle down, okay? Yeah, let us settle everything down, and you made a mistake, just own it and go on, okay? Everybody makes mistakes. We're all human. We make mistakes, but own it and go on and get better for it. Just don't make excuses. Excuses are like buttholes. Everybody's got one. But anyway, hopefully I'll have some other stuff to talk about this weekend. We are going to play in Northern Illinois. That's 3:30 on Saturday on ESPNU. I'm planning on watching that game closely to see if there's any improvement of the offensive line. But anyway, guys, have a good day, and talk to you soon. Thank you.